Hey painting pals, welcome back to Mandy's Minis, and we are live on Halloween, my favorite day. So thank you so much for joining me. Today we are doing a fan requested video, and there's a rule on my channel that if somebody asks for it, no matter how ridiculous it is, no matter how well or I should say how poorly it's going to perform, I still do it because I'm not monetized. I'm not here for money. I have a job. I like my job. So I am going to just, my whole goal is to be here for the community and to help others the way people have helped me to improve my miniature painting skills. So that's what we're doing today. We are doing NMM. It was requested from someone to show the absolute entire process of doing an NMM piece. Not just the blade, not just, one part like most videos show, because most videos are trying to keep time down. And I do that as well because most people do not want to watch long videos. So what we're doing is basically doing all of it. I figured the live stream format would give me a good outlet, so I don't have to edit hours of footage because it can take hours to do a complete NMM. So we're going to go ahead and do that today because I took the day off work. So Halloween being my favorite day. So that's what we're doing, and I am getting started by painting up a shadow color. And I know this looks very blue. This is actually one of my favorite colors. It is Reaper's Nightmare Black. I don't know if you can see this. There we go. Reaper's Nightmare Black. And the reason this one is so cool is because, as you can see, it has a very blue base. But this is also what I used for her hair. So as you can tell, it does go very dark. The reason it's not doing that right now is because I've thinned the paint a little bit, just to make it easier to work with while I'm doing the NMM. So she's got the belt buckle here. We've got the two axes she's wielding. A piece of her necklace and her earrings. So those are all the things that we're doing today, and I'm actually going to refresh my brush here because these earrings are small. I want to make sure I don't make a big mess getting the blue all over her ear. And you can't see any of that. Okay, there we go. Now we also have another little challenge today because Ben isn't here with me. He couldn't get the day off work, so he is in his office and chugging along with that for a few hours. So I'm actually glad to have the company today. And that's why I thought the live stream would be really nice. So now I've got all the first layer down. Actually going to go ahead and, sorry about the noise, but I'm going to dry it a little bit so that we can move on a little faster. NMM is such a long process, especially if you want it to look nice. So it does take time. And again, that's why I didn't want to do a full video on it, but it was requested. And I said, all right, I will film the hours and hours if you promise to watch it. And he did. So hopefully he will tune in and see the replay. All right. And you can see how this gets so much darker as we add some more layers. Actually, I might have thinned it a little too much. I think I'm going to actually pour some fresh one so we get to that black a little bit faster. And NMM is one of those techniques that I am not great at. So if you're tuning in to see the most advanced techniques and how to do everything in absolute perfect precision, you're on the wrong channel. Sorry, I'm just not that good at it. But I'm always working to improve. And the good news is NMM is just layering. It really is. So by that tone, it is a little bit easy enough. And we can make a good go at it. And you can see we're already getting into those nice dark tones. I may need to go in and add some more actual black to really sell the effect. NMM is, in case you don't know, is non-metallic metal. And that is when you use non-metallic paints sure I get in screen here for you. That is when you use non-metallic paints and paint them in a way that it looks like metal. So really what we're doing is we're mimicking the light. And moreover, the light reflecting off the metal. I'm going to dry this up a little bit more. Okay. And now I'm going to go into a little bit of a lighter color. And I'm going to start defining where my light is going to be. So for the axe, okay, and I'm kind of just placing values. Now the other thing I want you to notice is I am not going to be jumping around too much, and the reason for that being, once again, I'm not great at this, so I'm not really going to be able to see where to put other things later on without parts already being done. So I'm going to try and do as much of the axe at once that I can. but it might wind up getting completely redone later in different areas. Okay, so that second shade I put on was just a 50-50 mix of intermediate blue and the Nightmare Black. The intermediate blue is actually a very nice gray. And that's going to give us again just a little bluish undertone to our metal, which is what you'll see naturally in the world. And the reason being that usually we're reflecting the atmosphere, which we perceive as blue, hence the sky. So that's kind of what we're doing here. And if you're watching with me live, feel free to comment in the chats. I'll try to keep an eye on them, but I'm not great at that, and usually that's Ben's job, is to keep an eye on the chat to make sure I can answer your questions. But again, he's had to go to work, so the other hard thing about NMM is that it's going to be a bit of back and forth, but you get secondary lights, you get bounce lights, you get all sorts of different reflections that fall in different places. So there's no real good rule to be able to give you to say, hey, place the highlights here and you're done. That's not really how it works. You kind of just got to keep playing with it and adjusting and see where you get to. So right now we're kind of in the value sketching stage where I'm just trying to figure out what's going where and how much it's going to be. So there's going to be a bit of back and forth here as we go through. Okay. And this third color I'm using is ivory. So I've got some pure ivory, and I've got some ivory mixed with the intermediate blue. Another thing that you don't want to do is keep everything the same size. So that's another thing that will help improve your NMM, is if, for example, the size of this highlight is smaller than this highlight. This is going to be a brighter highlight, but also goes the same with the size of the dark. We've got this one being a little bit bigger, and the one in the back being very much smaller. Another secret that I've heard when you're doing blades, it's good to kind of think of them in triangles as opposed to squares. So you can see back here I've got the triangle in the dark and the triangle in the white going the opposite ways, and it's actually looking pretty good here. So especially for a less reflective area.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Thank you, Alexa. Don't know why she's feeling the need to chime in, but I'm really not liking how this is looking over here, so I think I'm actually going to change that highlight to be a little bit lower and a little bit more in this triangle shape. I feel like that's going to work a little better. But I do still want to keep it nice and big, because that's going to be my main light point on the blade. Tone this down just a smidge here. But as you can see, all my layers are going up. I don't have the white next to the dark. I don't have the extreme contrast going here on the blade. And that's because it's layering. You're not going to hit a highest highlight without hitting the lowest lowlights. Now, as you know, Vince Venturella is one of my favorite painters, and he always says try to put light near dark to get that contrast. But he's not talking about within a single item. He's talking about, for example, since the highlight is here, we're going to want that dark on the next side. So that's kind of the look that we're going for. Okay, I'm actually going to switch to my better brush here, my detail brush, because I've gotten far enough along. That's not it. Grabbed the wrong one. Alright. So there is a little, couple little cracks in the axe, so I want to bring those out and define them so they're easier to see. Now, at about the halfway point, which for the blade I would say I'm guessing I am, we're probably at a good time for me to start putting in an edge highlight so I can see that distinction. Oops. And the edge highlights really sell the effect of NMM, because metal, especially shiny metal, reflects so sharply at the edges. So we want to make sure we put those in and that we can see where they are. Okay. we keep going round and round, blending and adjusting. Until we can get this looking exactly how we want. Oh, it's really hard to do this on camera. I'm sorry, I do keep moving it off, so it's because I'm trying to see around my camera. If you actually look, my camera is literally about an inch in front of my mouth. So just great placement that you're not seeing it, but ooh, it does make it super hard to actually stay on camera and to get close enough to the model to do all those little tiny details that I need to do. And you know what? Still not liking it. So I'm going to actually go ahead and completely start over again on that blade. Okay, and this is another point where if I wasn't on camera, I might be looking at reference photos or something along those lines, just to be able to try and get a better sense of where I'm going to like the highlights. And the really cool thing about this, and the reason, one of the big reasons I wanted to show you guys this, is because this is probably going to look a lot more like your attempts. You know, I'm not great at it. I am not an expert. I've kind of avoided NMM for a long time because I'm not good at it. And it's hard. I keep coming back to it. I keep practicing a little bit more and getting a little better until I feel like I'm getting good enough. But ultimately, that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm working on a different section now because that's going to give me a little bit more peace of mind, because I can let the other side dry and get a little break from it. All right. And the thing about NMM is you need to do extreme contrast. So we want to go from blackest black to whitest white. That's kind of how you sell NMM. And so I'm going all the way up to white, which is what I just poured there. And I'm just going to add some of this highest white up in here. Great thing about working with acrylics when doing NMM is that they're translucent, so you see the layers underneath, so you can really build up some good values there. And I feel like we're starting to get here somewhere on this end. Okay. Let's not forget the edge highlights. A little thick there. It's okay, I'll go ahead and touch up the accent or the wood handle later. And I feel like that's looking pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more gray in this medium section here. Sorry, trying to make sure I'm staying on camera. And then let's reinforce that white just a little bit more. All right. I feel like I lost some of the shadow, so we're going to reinforce that now too. And there we go, we've got one part looking good. Actually, I want to tone it down a little bit here. There. Okay. And this is definitely one of those techniques that will essentially come together in the very last moment. It's going to be a little bit of a mess first for a while, and then the last few moments it'll be just fine. Okay. So I'm going to try and place the highlights here in a different location than I was doing before. So that way we're not making the same mistake over and over again and beating our head against the wall. But I think this placement works a lot better with the pose of this figure. And I'm judging that by the fact that I'm guessing. So. So again, we're kind of keeping those different values. The back highlight is going to be larger than the front highlight. I'm sorry, shadow. I'm working on the shadows right now. I know what I'm saying. All right. And we also don't want our highlights in all the places to be of the same value. So these side highlights are not going to go as high as this middle one is, being our main highlight. And that's looking much better. I'm going to go ahead and do that edge highlighting again. right, so we're definitely getting much better here. And by much better, I mean better than we were doing with the other orientation. Okay. Oops. And this is kind of the joy of NMM. It's just a whole lot of back and forth till you figure out exactly what you got. And that's the secret nobody actually wants to admit to. I shouldn't say admit to, but nobody likes. Showing you how to do one thing can go pretty easy, but when it's something as complicated as NMM, it takes an awful lot of time to actually get everything in the right spots. And then once you get it in the right spots, you've got to get it all blended. And sometimes it just never looks perfectly right anyway. I think we're going to get there with this. That's the idea. Okay. I'm actually running out of intermediate blue. Get more of that going here. Just want to reestablish these highlights, and then we'll reestablish the edge highlighting. And then we'll go ahead and move on. A little too much. Getting a little overly ambitious here. All right. Now one of the things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and glaze some of my intermediary blue around the blade, kind of try and help smooth it along. as far as transitions go. And now I want to come in and get some more details in. Now another good thing that you can do is to add little textures. So some stippling. You can see I've been doing a lot of dashes, little lines going out. And those help with the blending. And also give it some depth and some character, because of course she's using a pretty old weapon. So I'm doing a little bit of glazing here, but this is a little higher color, or a little darker color actually. It's actually a little bit brighter, but it's some of the the shadow color mixed with some of the highlight color, so we can kind of bring some of that blue back in. So again, lots of back and forth. And you know, there are some days and some projects that you just pick up and you just nail everything and everything looks great. And then you get some days like this where it's just not working. And of course, that's the day I'm doing a live stream and trying to film it. But that's okay, because I think it's important for everyone to see that others struggle. You're not the only one. The struggle is real. So, all we can do is the best we can do, and hope that it looks good. We're going to reinforce some of that light again. And then I'm going to kind of come in here and do that edge highlighting again. Okay. And I'm kind of shifting that highlight a little bit more. Because looking at it, I feel like it's a little bit more, should be a little bit higher. And I'm sorry guys, I know we're making the world's most boring video. Once again, this is why most of your favorite creators and miniature painters do not do all this NMM on screen unless they're really amazing. And if you really want to see a really amazing NMM, you need to check out Francesco Farabi. I was just watching his NMM video on Chimera, literally Chimera's channel. And it's awesome. He's really good at it. I've had the privilege of taking some classes with him. And I can tell you, he's a great teacher. And he really knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to NMM and freehand. So. Now, one of the other things you want to do when you're edge highlighting is you actually don't want to edge highlight with your highest color all the way around. So this is the ivory I'm doing on some of these places where it's not the highest highlight, whereas when I was doing the edge highlighting a moment ago, it was with the pure white, because I wanted that to be kind of the better area. Alright, so now we're going to switch to this flat part and see if we can figure that out. And make sure this is all going to end up working together. I want to be careful not to touch that edge highlight. But I got very messy with the edge highlight, so I need to tone this down a bit. Okay. I think my darkest shadows are going to be right there. And then we're going to move up from there. Okay. As you can see now, I'm just kind of value sketching in where I want some of the highlights to be. And do some black lighting here. I was really hoping to come in today and just totally nail it and just be floored by how awesome I was able to do. But clearly, that's not in the cards. So, all right. I actually want to tone down this shadow here. And I'm not loving it. I like this back here. This is working good. And that's because we're doing opposites here. So we've got the dark down here, so we can do a higher highlight here. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to work darker up here because we've got our higher highlights down here. I'm going to reestablish those. And then we can kind of come up again here and be a little higher up here in that area. So there's a lot of experimenting that goes into this until you're good. Once you're good, you're good. You know what to do. But until then, you just got to keep playing with it. So. I think that's going to be good. All right. And I feel like this color got missing from the blade. This nice bluish. Because steel tends to sell blue. Alright, so we're going to keep moving on. Because I am determined to at least get this axe in this video. And at the same time, it's Halloween. I want to go enjoy my Halloween, and I do not want to be painting literally all day. But we'll do what we can here. Well, I mean, I do want to be painting all day, but not necessarily NMM. Because as you can see, I struggle with it a lot. And one of these days, I know I'm going to be good at it. And it's going to be awesome. But today is not that day. And until then, all we can do is to keep trying and keep moving forward. And eventually we'll get there. And that's the important part. That's the most important part of painting, is that you just keep going, keep trying. Do not just give up. Let's see about some of these highlights. I don't even know how much of this is staying on screen because Ben's not here to let me know when I go off. So sorry if you're not seeing very much. That was not my intent. So I hope everyone else is having a happy Halloween. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying my Halloween. I love painting. There's nothing better. Well, that's not totally true. I mean, there are a few things better in life, but it's one of the most fun activities that I feel like I can spend time on. So I very much enjoy it. Okay. So another thing that kind of gets easier is, you know, when you're layering, you can always try and get the mid colors. Keep mixing a little bit if your glazes are not going good. And then again, like I said, a little bit of stippling, a little bit of random lines, get some texture in there, and you're going to make a little bit of a smoother transition. So that's kind of what I'm working on here, without actually getting into the glazing. reinforce that dark a little bit more. Right here. And coming up this way. Right. Now we're going to go into our higher highlights again. I suppose this is just our highlights. This one is a little bit of that intermediate blue mixed with the ivory. So I can get this blend into the highlight nicely. And same thing down here. Right. So we're chugging along. It's not great, but you know what? It's not too shabby. I've done worse. And I'm sure I'll do worse again. It's just part of the learning process. Okay. Get some of that edge highlighting done. Now the more colors you put in, the better your paint job's going to look, because you're creating visual confusion. And that's one of Vince's favorite things to talk about, but he's not the only one. Francesco Farabi keeps talking about similar. And they are incredible painters, and if you don't know who they are, you should check out their work, because wow. And that's why I like learning from them, or at least attempting to. All right. I'm getting some more blending in. Anyone starting to see metal yet? I think we're getting there. I'm actually going to go ahead and pause that again, because I could keep playing with it and keep playing with it, but you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. I'm actually going to go ahead and try a little bit of a different technique on the back to see if that's working better for me today. So I'm going to actually remove the black from this back section, and I'm going to start from the midpoint and see if that gives me a better chance of working today. Sometimes changing up your technique will help you a lot more. One of the things I feel like I'm doing here is I'm going too far with the extremes. I'm trying to, ooh, I'm covered in paint again. No surprise. I'm trying to get so much dark and focus on the dark and the light that I'm missing a whole lot of mid-tone. So I'm going to go ahead and start over here where I'm starting with the mid-tone. And let's see if that helps me to place everything better. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Let's find out. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the dark. And I want to do some dark down here. And a little bit right in here. Alright, now moving up to the lighter colors. I feel like that's looking not too shabby if I can get it in focus for you. There you go. So maybe this is going to read better for me today. Okay. I think we actually are going pretty good on this. Again, I feel like I'm taking out a lot of mid-tone, so I'm trying to put it back in. Okay. And let's see if I can get this edge highlighting. There we go. I think it's pretty safe to guess that I've been overthinking it today, probably because on film and recording and live, so there's no outtakes here. So I kind of have this one go to make it right, and that's about it. So now my phone's messing up, all because scammers are calling me. All right. So, all right, let's stop overthinking things and let's just go. Yeah, I bet they're telling me they want me to vote. Anybody else as sick of the political ads as I am? Doesn't help that I actually already voted. So I'm all done. And no, I'm not getting into politics on the channel. I don't discuss politics. All right. It's a little darker than I expected on my glaze there. There we go. Get some of that pure white in there. All right. And now I'm going to get to the flat of it. Shadow's gonna go here. Okay. And yeah, now I'm just shifting around the colors until I get the highlights and the shadows where I want them. And this is another great way to just kind of play with NMM, is to just kind of test around. Do you like it here? No. Do you like it there? No. All right. Where do you want it? And that's probably pretty good right like that. All right. A little heavy-handed on my edge highlight there, but that's okay. We'll adjust that. checking where we're at with that. Got a little glaze going on. That's not a little glaze. That is way too thick. Right. Everyone still with me? Yeah, probably not. I think even those who promised to watch the whole thing have probably turned off by now. Because this is such a challenge. But I'm actually really glad that I could actually show you what NMM looks like for other people. Because it's not, I mean, you watch some of these amazing painters and it looks so easy. But guess what? It's not. It's not easy at all. And you watch them going back and forth and it's like, okay, fine, but whatever. But when you realize they know what they're doing and they're doing that much back and forth, it really kind of puts it in perspective of just how much there is just playing around and trying to get it right. That's why I think the most impressive is Jose Da Vinci on Instagram. I don't know what his real name is, but he is, I mean, I don't know, maybe Da Vinci is his real name, but that's what he goes by on Instagram. And his technique is amazing because he just kind of goes, he knows where to put it. And oh, excuse me. And it's fast and it's easy and it's smooth, and boy, I wish I could paint like that. One day I will, but today, not that day. I am just making a mess of everything. My wet bed is drenched. And it's amazing how much those edge highlights just really put it back into perspective. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what a nightmare, I've ruined it, it's gone. And then suddenly I reestablished the edge highlights and that's not so bad. I mean, it's not good, it's not done, but that's not so bad. So, important part is we're getting there. and that we're not giving up. That is one of the most important things. Don't give up. You can do this. It's hard. Yes, you see me struggling. But you can do this. I promise. You just got to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And best example of that would be I had one of my most popular videos is a skin tone video. But you guys weren't around for when I learned skin tone. And I got so mad and frustrated that I actually took the figure and threw it against the wall. That's how frustrated I was with trying to get the skin tone right. The underpainting and the glazing and the this and the that. And it was just too much. Too much. I couldn't handle it. I got so frustrated. I was pissed. I threw the figure. Luckily, the figure I threw and was working on was a Reaper figure, so it did not break. And I was able to set it aside and come back to it later. And it is actually a very nice piece. So I'm very proud of it. And it's I call him Zeus. I painted him up as Zeus. But he is a storm giant, Reaper storm giant. And you can see him on my website. But I absolutely love the way the skin tone actually worked out. So, trust me, you can do it. Have you ever been so mad you threw the model? Probably not. I have a little bit of a German temper in me. So, yeah, I literally threw the model. And that's not cool. I mean, I didn't throw it at somebody. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I was just frustrated. And poor Ben dealing with all of that. He's amazing, but yeah, that was not a good day. He's actually the one who told me to put it away. He took it away from me and wouldn't let me have it back for quite some time, and eventually I calmed down. I was trying again slightly on some of my other figures and just kind of moved on from it and then came back to it. And then I did it again. And I struggled again. And then I got it. And it's awesome and it's amazing and I love it. So trust me, when I say you can do this, I mean it. I'm there. I'm right with ya. I've struggled. It's not easy. It's not fun. But in the end, well, I mean, you got to decide if it's worth it for you. For me, I decided it was worth it. And I am super happy that I did. And I'm super happy with my painting skills. Don't get me wrong. I still wish they were better. Who doesn't? I mean, I think the greatest painter in the world probably wishes they were, just a little bit better. Just a little bit. Okay. And yes, I'm switching up techniques. The glazing has not been working for me. I am feathering. So if you managed to notice that, good job. But I am feeling very confident with this at the moment. I feel like it's going pretty well. I'm not sure if any of you agree, but I'm sure there's some of you out there that are like, yes, I wish I was that good. And I'm sure there's plenty of you out there going, no, you suck. Why the heck are you making a video? And that's okay. But, you know, to answer your question, because I do have some talent and some skill, and I'm trying to help others. And if you don't like that, too bad. Because I think it's a good thing to help others. And it's very important in our community. That's how I learned. And I'm just trying to help others be able to do the same. Alright, so here is where we're at right now. And there is still a long way to go. And it's been a few hours already. So, if you are ever wondering why most people do not do full videos on NMM, this is why. Okay. I am afraid I may not be able to get this full axe side done before I have to call it. But we're going to give it a go. I feel like I'm on the verge, which is usually a good sign. So let's get some reinforced shadows and edge highlights, and let's see where we're at. And that is actually looking pretty darn good all of a sudden. The blade's still not so much, but that part is. I'm pretty happy with that. So we're gonna try and fix the blade just a little bit here. Okay. And there is how you do NMM. Yes, that's right. You just keep playing with it until it suddenly works. Okay. Now we move on to the next part. Next part we have these little gotta find them again. There we go. Okay. So connecting the axe head to the handle. Now these theoretically should be a little bit easier because they're a smaller area and they're not as important. So we're going to try and keep this simple. A little black lining here, really make them pop out. And of course, since it is going to be, it would be shadowed in between here. So I'm going to kind of pull some of that back down here so we get some of that shadowing. There we go. All right. Now we're going to move up a bit on these. This black lining here is very important because we've kind of got a highlight to a highlight. So I want to really reinforce that and tone that highlight down because that's actually an underside and probably wouldn't be as bright as it was looking. we go. Okay, now these have a little nail in the center of them that would get a higher reflection and would cause a shadow around it. So I'm going to try and add that back in. There we go. And of course now I'm losing my black line. So once again, the back and forth. When I get really annoyed, I tell Ben I get to play the back and forth game now. Because there's so many techniques that you end up using it on. Just back and forth until you get it right. Even with your mistakes, you know, you hit something just wrong and suddenly okay. All right. That's pretty good. I just want to take a little bit more dark to the back. My luck, I'm going to hit something I don't mean to hit, but sometimes it's a risk you got to take. There we go. And yes, I'm going back here because I found a few places that I feel like it needs a little more color. There we go. All right, now we've got an axe going. All right, let's get this handle done. I love cylinders. They're so easy because it's just a nice long line. You don't usually get anything that easy to highlight. It's also hard not to hear Ben. He's in his office, which is just the other room, and he talks to doctors all day, so listening to him talk on the phone out there does keep pulling my focus a little bit. Alright. And we're looking pretty good there. Just need to get the blend back here a little bit better. There we go. And there we go. That entire part of the X is done. As I keep playing with it. Yeah. This is what I do. Nothing's ever truly finished. But I get done with it, and then I'm done with it. So, but I think that's pretty good. And it's only been 2 hours, but I got that exact half. Let me pour a little more paint here. I want to fix that handle before I forget, because it's looking a little blue. And it's supposed to be a reddish brown. So blue is not happy. Oh, it's blue. Okay. There we go. Now we've got the right color on there. Hit that edge highlight one more time. Very carefully, so I don't have to play the back and forth game. There we go. All right. Now, 1/2 done. Back to the other side, which is a mess. And we're going to take it over from there. Basically, I am repeating what I did on the other side, because that worked over there. So we're going to hope it works over here too. And this side should not take me as long, because I already have a little more of an idea of what I'm doing. So let's hope that's the case and proves to be true. I'm sorry, guys. I tend to be running out of things to talk about. I don't think I've talked for 2 hours straight trying to entertain anyone before, so sorry if I'm going a little quiet, but I feel like I'm trying to focus so much to just finish this and get this request done so that we can move on and enjoy the rest of Halloween. Okay. I, I do feel like we're getting somewhere. And that's important. All right. Well, I am going to take a little pause here. I do need to take a little break, reset my paints, and get something more to drink because all this talking is really going to kill my throat. And we're already getting into winter a little bit more where I'm getting, or the studio's getting a little more dry and that sort of thing. So I do need to take a break from that. So give me just one moment. And we're back. Okay, I still got to pour paint, but figured I could do that while I talk to you. That doesn't seem that hard. And the fun part is we still have the belt buckle, the necklace, and the earring. So I'm actually going to go ahead and switch to the earrings now because earrings are fabulously fun. So all I'm going to do is take some of my mid-tone because we already put the black on there. Put some of my mid-tone on the earrings. She's got 3 of them. Okay. And then I'm going up to my highest white, and I'm just going to put a dot of that on. Boom, boom, and boom. Now, especially that bottom one got a bit heavy and covered up a bit of the other, so I'm going to go back to my black, reestablish some of that. The smaller the item, the easier it is to make it read it as metal because you just really would see the black and the white mostly. Just the smallest little dot, and voila. There we go. Is it the best thing ever? Nah. But it works. Alright, let's knock out this necklace real quick. Because why not? Okay. So, again, I'm jumping to my mid-tone because that seems to be working better for me today. And I'm going to guess where my highlight is going to be. Little edge highlighting there, and now I'm going to try and put in some shadow. Okay. And that's looking pretty good already. A little bit of white. Okay, let's get a little more edge highlighting in here. Just a touch. I think that looks pretty good. Let's make sure you guys can see it. Might work a little better with some more light towards you. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to the next section. Let's do this, knock out this belt buckle, huh? Once you get in the rhythm, it gets pretty easy. So. Okay. And I'm just following the shape. Now I have my light set to be coming from the left here, which is why it's going to catch a little more on the inside here. And so I am thinking about the light placement a little bit while I'm doing this. But again, you're going to have secondary lighting, secondary highlights and reflections and all of that, which I don't touch. I am not a good enough painter to be able to do all that. So, yet. Key phrase, yet. And you're always going to hear me saying that, because I'm always trying to improve and trying to get better. So one of these days, yes, I will do it. And I may even be really good at it. But for now, I've had it happen once. I got it to work really well. And I was using the airbrush, and it was overspray, and it was an accident, and it worked beautifully. But I cannot replicate that. So, until I figure it out, we just roll with it, and I do what I can and keep learning and working from it. So, we're just going to keep layering this up as we go. Oh, look at how much easier the time I'm having with this. Way better. Oh no, trick-or-treating has started. I'm not ready for it. Let's see. Yep. Alright, well, I hate to tell you guys, that means it's time to go. I have to get upstairs. I have to take care of the little ones, and not my little ones, but everyone else's. It's one of the fun of Halloween, and I don't want to ruin it for everyone, so I'm going to go ahead and get on that. Oh, and we also lost the camera there. Hold on, I'll get that back in just a second so you can see where we're at. Oops, wrong one. There you go. So, belt buckle's looking pretty good. I will get more of this photos of this one online so you can see all of it, but hopefully that fulfills the request. I've done quite a few different bits and different shapes, so you can see a little bit more. And until next time, happy Halloween, have fun, and keep creating.